Research costs money. Healthcare providers won't necessarily have the money to pay for research. That is why it is important to seek funding support. What is funding support? Funding can pay for a range of things associated with the research project. It can pay for things like staff, equipment, and software, but also for participants and their expenses like travel costs. Funding can also cover education and training costs, such as PhD fellowships. This can include the cost of tuition fees, training, and travel expenses. And in some cases, it can pay for your salary while you're training. You can also seek access to small pots of money to support with things like writing up and publishing papers and attending conferences. Where can you get funding from? Charities can be a great source of research funding. They can vary in size, which influences the size and scale of the research they can fund. Big funders such as the Health Foundation or the Wellcome Trust have programs of research funding, from very small and short projects to multi-year transnational programs. Your hospital might have its own charity, which is able to fund small projects of benefit to its patients. Industry and private organizations can be a good source of research funding. Typically, the pharmaceutical industry funds the majority of clinical trials of medicines. When they do this, they look for clinicians who can lead or support the project, as well as healthcare providers where the research can be conducted. Government is another source of funding. The National Institute for Health and Care Research is the largest funder of health research in England and is funded by government. UK Research and Innovation is a group of 7 research councils that are funded by government, some of which provide funding in the medical and health research space, such as the Medical Research Council. There is also funding available for pre-research activities that will help you get funding for projects. For example, you can access very small pots of money to pay for patient and public involvement and engagement to help in the design of a research project and funding application. How do you find funding? Research Connect is a digital funding service that brings together information on thousands of funding opportunities across the international research community. You can plug in details on the type of funding you are looking for and let it do all the hard work. It will send you notifications when relevant funding opportunities become available. Your research and development team might be able to get you access to a service like Research Connect. They will also have a wealth of information on research funders and might be able to direct you quickly to some relevant opportunities based on your area of interest and level of expertise. You should also speak to colleagues with research experience. Research funders tend to release funding annually, so if you miss out this year, you can always start preparing for the call next year. The longer the lead time, the better quality your application will be, so don't be in a rush to submit. The National Institute for Health and Care Research has many programs of funding, and several of them release funding 3 times a year. The Research for Patient Benefit Program is a great place for people new to research funding to start, as they offer smaller amounts of money and welcome novice researchers. How to get funding? Funding is usually secured after making an application. Each application will be different, but it is likely to cover why the research is important, or the scientific justification, what you plan to do in the research, including things like your data collection and analysis plans, what impact the research will have on patients. Finally, it is important to have good patient and public involvement to demonstrate that the study is both feasible and acceptable to patients. What to do when you get funding? Congratulations! It is difficult to secure research funding, and you might be unsuccessful several times before winning a grant. Next, you need to notify people. This will depend on your organization, but you will likely need to tell your line manager, your research and development team, and finance. It is essential to maintain good governance over your research funding. This means keeping a log of your spending, keeping receipts, and only spending on things that the funder agreed to pay for. Your organization will likely have processes and procedures to help you with this. Thank you for watching this video on funding support.